Eastern Cape Cocta MEC Zolile Williams has condemned cases of alleged extortion against aid organizations lending a hand in relief efforts after last week's massive floods in Mthatha and the Eastern Cape. Now, speaking earlier here on SABC News, this is what the MEC had to say.
It's unfortunate. Those are lumpens and scums of society that ignore and disregard the state we are in currently. And we have then, because the JOC operates full-time, 2 meetings per day, 9 o'clock and 7 o'clock. So we've indicated to the police commissioner around Mthatha to say there are pictures of those people. Those must be followed because we want the law to take its course. And I think around Mthatha, since the extortion started, we were able to deal with many of them. Now, if they are rising again, I think the police are, having capacity to deal with that. So that has been reported. They are following it up. And suddenly, it has now subsided because we're getting no reports about it currently.
Sabatha is in Mthatha for us today for the Provincial Day of Mourning in remembrance of the lives that have been lost in the recent floods. Let's cross now for an update. Sabatha, coming back to you once more. So many stories coming through, so many devastating stories. But of course, we are now counting down in anticipation to the official event later today.
Absolutely, Sakina. I think today we're going to hear even more sad stories of young people and old who have lost their lives so tragically. A few minutes ago, I met the principal of Bambanani Senior Primary School, Nosipho Ngangula, who I'm going to speak to shortly, who, Sakina, the youngest pupil at her school, died at the age of 6 and the eldest being 12. So 6 pupils from Bambanani Senior Primary School passing away, with 2, Sakina, still missing. But let me talk to her to ask us briefly how things are at the school. She said that exams are still going on, but the mood in the school is still very somber, and today will be definitely a trigger for many of the pupils who will come here to offer their support and condolences to the pupils that died. Mama, ndizibusele kuwe, ingaba isimo mama msinjani esikolweni ngakumbi ekusoleke abantwana aba6 naba2 besakhangelwa?
Enkosi kakhulu Lerato, siyabulisa kuba bukeli be-SABC. Ndithetha ndingu Miss Nosipho Ngangula, uprincipal wasebambanani Senior Primary School. Lela ibuhlungu into esiyifumeneyo kwesasikolo ukususela ngalamini yomhla we10 apha kuJune. Okokoko zizijwili ke ebantwaneni ngoba sidila nabantwana, zizijwili abantwana bayakhala noba sime kwi-lines bayakhala, abantwana abathuthuzeleki. As a result, loo nto ayi-affectanga bona bodwa, isi-affectile nathi sizitishala. Kubi ngoba silila nabo, ngoku umthuthuzelayo umntwana silila nabo sisi.
Mama, in terms of emotional support kubafundi uthi isikakhulu bayalila, and understandably so. Nani ezotishala mos umntana xa esesikolweni sakho kuba ngumzali wakhe, so ibangathi nawe usolekele umntana wakho. In terms of psychological support kuni otishala kuwe principal kwaye nabantwana, ingaba ninikwe na psychological support in terms of counselling ukuncedisa to go through le process ebuhlungu kangaka?
Lerato, andifuna uphosisa apha kubalaleli be-SABC nababukeli, andifuna uphosisa. Asikalufumana uncedo ngoba nathi sesitsho xa siqomba sixakene nento, because bona abantwana siyababiza, sike sibabizele egumbini, sibathuthuzele, sibabalisele izinto ukuze bakwazi uku-understanda le meko, kodwa ngoba bancinci asikalufumani uncedo lu-professional lona.
Well, that was the principal, Nosipho Ngangula, coming from Bambanani Senior Primary School with 6 pupils, the youngest of which being in grade R, 6 years old, the oldest being in grade 6, 12 years old, have tragically also passed on. 6 pupils passing on and 2 still missing from that tragic flood that took place in Mthatha last week. Nosipho just saying that situation at the school is very somber. Every time the pupils are standing in line where they're going to assembly or getting ready for school, it's cries after cries. A lot of them still in pain, still reeling from the loss of their fellow classmates, inconsolable to a certain extent. Also speaking about the trauma the teachers have experienced, because you know that as a teacher you are perhaps the first guard when it gets to the pupils, and the pupils become your children too. So saying the pupils and also the teachers have suffered a huge loss, are not coping emotionally or psychologically, and also just alluding to the fact that there's been no psychological support for the pupils or the teachers. If anything, the teachers have tried in their own capacity to call the pupils into the class to tell them good stories in an attempt to try and divert their attention away from this tragedy. But my colleague Fundiswa is also part of this broadcast, and she is in Mthatha to speak to the victims of the Mthatha floods which took place last week. It's over to you, Fundiswa.
Thank you very much, Lerato. Indeed, we are at the Central Police Station where the search and recover teams, as well as the Gift of the Givers Foundation, are here just to plan for the day and get the briefing as well as the logistics of the day. Earlier on, we were at a local church at Joslovo Township, where community members were getting ready to go and be part of the memorial service that will be taking place at the King Sabatha Dalindyebo FET College in Tsitsiga. But now let us bring in the Gift of the Givers Foundation's Alisa Blay. Alisa Blay, let's talk firstly about the reports that we had earlier on that your trucks were delivering water to the affected residents and communities, but they were threatened by alleged extortionists. Can you confirm those reports?
That is true. Last weekend, Friday, our chairman and founder, Dr. Imtiaz Suleiman, was on site. And then he received a request from the Eastern Cape Health Department, from the South African Police Services, from the OR Tambo District Municipality, who we have a very good relationship with. Then on Sunday, while our trucks were filling up at the water treatment plant, a black Fortuner pulled up in front of it, threatened our driver, said he must leave, they are not welcome here. And we then found that this is part of the water mafia team who take advantage of these kind of situations in providing water to the people. They informed us that we are providing water free to the people and they're going to get paid for it, and they were scared we're taking business away from them.
Mm-hmm. So what is your plan for today?
So we brought in our third search and rescue team has just arrived for this operation. We had teams coming in from the Free State and Northwest. We are working along the South African Police Services diving unit, the search and rescue teams, the EMS. Yesterday it was for the last 2 days we never found a body, and then last night it was a huge motivation for the team when they retrieved the teenage girl and they could bring closures to families. So we are extending that search and recovery period now. We do know the South African National Defence Force helicopter is in Mthatha now. They will be assisting with the search and rescue operations. We have a skilled team as well where they will be using TLB services to sweep up rubble, just to ensure that every section is covered meter by meter. So we do know there is still many families coming to the forensics and to the mortuary, just coming to inquire if there's any closures to their families as yet. So our search and recovery period will extend. There's a third team now, will be here till Sunday. Afterwards, with the South African Police Services, we will reassess the situation.
Okay, thank you very much, Lisa Blay from the Gift of the Givers Foundation. That is very sad, because there are people who are taking advantage of the situation that the residents are facing here, because also at Joslovo we saw people moving away with their mattresses and blankets, because they were saying that when they leave that church, some people from the community come and steal them. It's back to studio.
Thank you so much. Our reporters out in the Eastern Cape, Fundiswa Mtekute, and of course Lerato Fikisi as well.